On today's Locked On Thunder podcast, the Oklahoma City Thunder get a comeback win over the Houston Rockets, snapping a losing streak in Houston, why that matters, and Chet Holmgren takes over this game.
You are Locked On Thunder, your daily Oklahoma City Thunder podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's get it going on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, media member, and beat writer for InsideTheThunder.com, Rylan Stiles. Follow me on Twitter at Rylan_Stiles. Follow the show on Twitter at LOThunderPod. Email the show, LOThunderPod@gmail.com. On today's show, brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. Make every moment more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any $5 bet that you win. $150 is there for you for your betting wins, won $5 or more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started today. We're talking about the Thunder coming back against the Houston Rockets. So this game was a game where you come in and you're taking on the Houston Rockets. You've lost 5 straight in Houston. You're on a winning streak and, everything's going good for the Thunder. But against the Rockets specifically, you've lost 5 straight in Houston. The last time that the Thunder played Houston, they didn't have energy. They didn't have, the proper effort. And Houston brought out the putting a center on Josh Giddey and exposing that mismatch, that kind of advantage for other teams. So whenever you go into this game, in the first quarter, it was a kind of a feel-it-out process in the first quarter. They were trading buckets. Houston went on a little mini run, but the Thunder were able to close the gap and used J-Dub to go the length of the floor at the buzzer into the first to get that back to like a 3-point game going into the second. However, in that second quarter, the Thunder got down by 16 points. And once again, it looks like you're playing in Houston. Houston's an interesting matchup for OKC where they can kind of match up with them because of their athleticism, because of their size. They can play physically with OKC. They can also outpace OKC. So they're a team that right out of the chute is not overwhelmed by the Thunder's transitional style, that they can kind of keep up and at times play faster than OKC depending upon the lineup. So it's an interesting matchup. And then you get into the fact where the Thunder just were not playing up to their standards. There's nothing more you can say besides whenever you get out physical, when you get out efforted, when you get a offensive flow that just gets disrupted so much, you're not going to win those games. It doesn't matter what anything else, what goes on anywhere else. If you're not playing with effort, if you're not playing with physicality, if you're not protecting the basketball and doing your job, you're not going to win against any team. And you get down 16 points. What I think was interesting in this game, or what was something that you should take away from this game, was that the Thunder got down by 16. And then they didn't, give up. They didn't let go of the rope. They just kept chipping away. It was their 2 stars, they're a big 3 in SGA, Chet, and J-Dub that really helped pull this game back out from what it was at a 16-point deficit to eventually go up 17 points themselves. This was their 12th double-digit comeback win of the season. That's the most in the NBA. And I think that matters. I think that is something that you can take and continue to draw from as, hey, that's like a feather in their cap of being contenders, because in the postseason, everything's not going to go right. In the postseason, you're going to get behind. You're going to have games where you start out bad. And in a best-of-7 format, if you have a couple of those and you hit adversity like that and all you do is pack it up, you're going to be singing 1, 2, 3 Cancun pretty soon. You're going to have to have that ability to overcome adversity on the road, like they did against Houston, and just in general when they get down and when they're not playing their best basketball. You can't point the finger. You can't, turn on each other. You can't just throw your hands up and say, well, this game's over. You've got to continue to press the issue and fight back in these games. And that's something that they've done 12 times, the best in the NBA. Now, obviously, you don't want to get down. You don't want to get down 16 points. You don't want to get down double digits. You don't want to do that. But it's bound to happen. It's the nature of basketball. It's bound to happen to you. And when it does, how do you react to that? When it does, what can you change and what can you improve upon? And the Thunder have a roster where they're able to pivot, they're able to improve, situationally, because they have some good situational players, and they have a good head coach that can spot these things. And they have what it takes to be contenders. Like, look, you have to handle adversity as contenders. I think that the Thunder have shown that they can handle adversity. You have to have a star or multiple stars. The Thunder have one of the best players in the NBA in SGA, and then you've seen what J-Dub and Chet can do playing at that all-star caliber level, especially you saw Chet take over this game. So they have that star power. You got to have a quality head coach, and the Thunder do have that. You've got to have, really complementary role players, and the Thunder have that as well, especially if Lou Dort is shooting the way he's shooting right now. And so while it was a frustrating start or a sloppy start for Oklahoma City, the way that they ended the game should vastly encourage you for their future and for their outlook this season. They've now clinched 40 wins before 20 losses, and according to Phil Jackson, the legendary Hall of Fame head coach, that separates them as contenders because of his 40 games before 20 losses theory, which has bared out to be, true for the most part. Like, if you do win 40 games before 20 losses, you're obviously a very good team, and you're going to have postseason success to varying degrees. Like, this is a really, really, really good Thunder team. In each game, they kind of show you this new layer of why or how that is. The Thunder also have the longest winning streak in the Western Conference of 5 games. It's the best record in the West, tied for, of course, 40-17. And I think that the Thunder just kept coming at Houston and never let up. That was their big thing. I think you go back to that. There was a sequence where SGA hit like a step back mid-range shot, and Houston calls a timeout, and the Thunder are down. I want to say it was 4, down 4-5, and he just was smiling, skipping to the huddle, and Chet's smiling and laughing, and it was right whenever he actually passed Michael Cage on the scoring list. But like that timeout, even though they were down, even though they had just made this run, it was not like this doomsday timeout. It was not like this weird vibe. They were all happy, excited, and emotionally, you could not tell by looking at that timeout what the score would be. And the fact that you can look at this team and never truly know what the score is, good or bad, I think just shows you how steady and consistent that this team is. They're going to go out there and they're going to try to play their way, and they're going to work through some issues. Again, they got down 16 points, but they battled through 16 lead changes. They battled through 7 ties, and they were able to get this win against Houston. Because at the end of the day, you just have to win games. So I think that their consistency and their resiliency really showed off in this game. They ended up shooting 47% from the floor, which is better than the 40% from Houston. They shot 48% from 3, which is better than the 39% from Houston. And they shot 93% from the free throw line, which is better than the 78% from Houston. OKC shot 46% in the paint. I'm sorry, not percent, 46 points in the paint. Houston had 36 points. So OKC was a plus 10 there. Houston was a plus 3 in second chance points. And then here's the big kicker. Again, where Houston is kind of able to turn some things on their head a little bit. Houston had 20 fast break points to OKC's 2. That is something that's typically flipped. Thunder had under 10 turnovers. They had 9 turnovers. Houston had 18 turnovers, but Houston did win the rebounding battle. This is the first time since the Gordon Hayward trade that the Thunder have lost the rebounding battle. They lost it 60-52. But it was obviously a very frustrating middle portion of the game. But the Thunder made a run to close the second. And then in the third quarter, they made this what was it, 15-2 run that really helped them switch the game over and they never looked back from that run and just continued to build upon that. And eventually they turned it into garbage time in their favor on the road. Now, these two teams are going to get back after it on Tuesday in OKC. I think that'll be another good test because I think that Ime Udoka is a really good coach. I think that the Rockets have some pieces that are very interesting, and I think that the Rockets are going to use this baseball style series to try to adjust and eliminate what they did wrong down the stretch of this game. And the Thunder can do the same thing. That's the kind of the beauty of these baseball style series is you get to see what went wrong to cause you to get down 16 for the Rockets, cause you to get down 17, and see if you can mitigate that or flip that just in a couple of days, right? It's more of it's like a soft launch for the postseason. Let's see what the Thunder do and the Rockets do because of it. So I'm very interested in that. Now, whenever we're going to talk about Chet Holmgren taking over this game, we're going to do that coming up. But first, I want to say right now, my good friends over at Grammarly, folks, check out Grammarly right now. Go to Grammarly.com/podcast right now. They're awesome. You want to go there because Grammarly is something that I use every single day. No matter what kind of work you do or how you communicate, that is the key portion of it is communication. If it's emails or reports or presentations, this is so important to have the collaboration that you need to get things done and get things done right. Grammarly can help you do that. They have an AI writing partner that helps you communicate more effectively and efficiently so you can make a bigger impact at work. But also they help you, of course, just shape up your sentences and make sure that your grammar's on point and spelling's on point with Grammarly. They're really, really awesome because, again, I use them every single day with InsideTheThunder.com and also writing the outline for this show, making sure everything's written properly and everything's in the right place. So check it out today because 96% of Grammarly users report that Grammarly helps them craft more impactful writing, and Grammarly works across 500,000 apps and websites. Grammarly right now is helping you understand writing and context, and they provide relevant, personalized suggestions for your writing. The tone suggestions help you navigate more of those difficult conversations at work, so it can help you kind of fix your tone and work on your tone and how it comes off in written form. So right now, you can save with one click and go from editing drafts in hours to just editing them in seconds. 93% of professionals using Grammarly Premium report that it helps them get more work done. So Grammarly is the gold standard of responsible AI with 14 years of experience and just about every IT certification under the sun. So Grammarly is going to secure AI writing partners for you that helps you and your team get to the point and move faster. So go check it out today because it makes a big difference, and go to Grammarly.com/podcast. That's Grammarly.com/podcast. Go there right now. It is going to be awesome for you. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you, talking Thunder basketball. What a game this was for Oklahoma City. They were able to come out and beat Houston after getting down by 16 points. And a large part of that was due to Chet Holmgren. You look at Chet Holmgren, he finishes with 29 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, and 3 blocks. That is a stat line that only Kevin Durant has accomplished in his career, in his Thunder career, Thunder history. And so with Chet Holmgren, the majority of that came in the second half. The majority of that came when the Thunder needed him. I mean, he started the third quarter, and he got like a block, 3, and assist all in the blink of an eye. Chet Holmgren was massive in this game. I think that the biggest part for Holmgren is that as the season's progressed, as the season's gone on, he's gotten more and more aggressive. And with that aggression comes that he exploits mismatches and that he is finding avenues that he can exploit, like a smaller guard on him. Or whenever he was going through the lane and he contorts his body, then jump stops and dunks over 2 people. Like that stuff, being more willing to be explorative in how he's scoring the basketball is maintaining efficiency. He shot 68% from the floor, but creating advantages to help this Thunder offense. And then he shot 5 for 8 from 3, shooting 62% from beyond the arc. He just gets it done on both ends. And he's a plus 10 in this game. Like, the difference in Chet Holmgren is that you can see just how fresh his legs are. And if that's a real thing, right? If fresh legs for Chet Holmgren is like the real reason why he's performing so well post All-Star break than he did at the end of January, you got to be very excited about what the playoffs will appear like, especially right out of the gate, because with the Thunder, in line in the driver's seat to be a top 4 seed and not be in the play-in tournament, they're going to get a full week off. So that's a longer All-Star break. That's longer than the All-Star break. You're going to get a full week off and likely get to play at home, of course, if they're a top 4 seed for that opening game. So that takes away a day of travel. Like, Chet will be extremely fresh for the first round playoff series if you want to overcast it that far. But I think that what Chet Holmgren was able to do was he came out and was a tone setter. I think that what SGA did in this game was being a steady, consistent, I'm going to do my job, right? If you're SGA, he's going to do his job. He's going to go get his 30 points, and he's going to lead by example. I think that Chet Holmgren went out and he just gave you so much energy in a quick manner. Again, that third quarter sequence of like block, assist, 3, block, assist, dunk. Like, those things add up, and you can feed off of that, especially on the road as a team, that he was really a tone setter. Because at first, things were way too easy in the paint for Houston. And that goes back to Houston was the way more physical team than OKC. But when that switch flipped, Houston no longer got easy shots in the paint. Chet had 3 blocks and more deterrence. He had a steal, and he was just a force down low. You flip this over, and Sengun went 6 for 12 for 19 points. He kind of labored a bit in this game. And I think that, you look at Eamon Thompson, his first couple buckets were awesome. They were sweet. And he goes 2 for 10 at the end of it. You can continue on down the list of how this turned, in large part due to Chet Holmgren anchoring the middle and taking the game over offensively as a shooter, and even had that putback dunk on the missed 3 where he pulls himself up off the rim to kind of let out some celebration or some excitement. But when Chet Holmgren's playing like that and he's taking over games, and then you have SGA turning in 36 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block. And SGA hit a couple step-back threes. He was 2 for 3 from 3. SGA hit this just low block, contorting his body to the left, then going back right and throwing the ball up on his hand away from the basketball. And it went in somehow. Like, he was just making these shots in the paint that were jaw-dropping even for him, who's a guy that hits tough shots, and it becomes kind of normalized even for him. And they were just very, very tough shots that were going in, and shot 56% from the floor doing so. Like, those two guys being on it were all you really needed to see from OKC to eventually turn this game. Jaylen Williams is one of the best players at going the length of the floor and knocking down a shot before the buzzer. That was very evident. For the Thunder. So you look at Jalen Williams and his ability to go the length of the floor in like 1 second and get a shot off as he did at the end of the first has been a consistent advantage for Oklahoma City for the entire season. Like, he is one of the best in the NBA at doing that. And I think that those plays like that are plays that can really ignite a team or excite a team, help the Thunder in a big way. Plus, defensively, his ability to switch and play well. But going back to Chet Holmgren one last time, because how could you not continue to talk about Chet Holmgren after that game? Chet Holmgren's the big thing for Chet Holmgren is that he confuses defenses, and he creates matchup problems for the Thunder. Because when you have a guy like Sengun out there, he can't defend Chet Holmgren out in space. He just can't do it. And that forces you to change how you set up your defense. Because it's not just picking on Şengün, but like there's just not going to be a ton of traditional fives that can go and guard Chet Holmgren. You're not going to have a lot of centers around the NBA who are playing that center spot like Chet is, who can defend him in space, who can defend him off the dribble, off the catch, who can get out enough on the pick and pop, and who can take away him on the roll. Because if you play up on him and start trying to take away that three-pointer, he's going to be able to sprint toward the rim, dive at the rim, and get easy looks. So he creates such a matchup problem that him being more aggressive only further and further exploits that, only further and further puts that on display. And it was on display against Houston. And there was just no way to truly combat it for Houston, because even whenever they tried Jeff Green, whenever they tried to switch who was playing the center position, maybe going a little bit smaller, like it didn't work in that lane either. And so I don't really think that people look at how difficult it is to match up with the Thunder whenever, especially these lineups where it's like Shai and Joe and Lu Dort, and you have all these guys who are out there that can complement Chet Holmgren, where you don't want to put them on the big man on a shooter in the corner, but you also want to put them on Chet Holmgren, around the top of the key or in the slot. You just have so many issues defending Chet Holmgren if that's the case. So Chet Holmgren is just a matchup nightmare for teams. A matchup nightmare for teams. Coming up, let's talk Lu Dort, who deserves a lot of credit, and let's talk about their rotations and lineups as well. But first, I want to tell you right now about our good friends over at Stitch Fix. Check out stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon, because right now, you know that instant confidence that you get with that boost that you get from that outfit that looks really good. And so that's what you will get with Stitch Fix. Stitch Fix gives you a stylist who understands your style, sizes, budgets, and they can help make shopping easy for you. The easiest way to update your wardrobe this season is with Stitch Fix. You can easily upgrade your wardrobe all year long with a professional stylist that helps you find new on-trend favorites that will work for you. So go there right now. You give your stylist the size, the style, and the budget of your preference. You open up the box, and then you see what you want. And you can keep what you want and then send back what you don't. No subscription required. They send you 5 pieces, plus they have the outfit recommended and pro style advices, and you try them on. You try which ones you like, and you send the rest back. Your stylist helps you find the right pieces for you and help you keep your outfits on point. So go there right now to the Stitch Fix and find what is great for you. And if you don't love it, just send it back. Shipping, returns, and exchanges are always free. So go there right now to Stitch Fix. Your style can make you look good and on point. So go there right now to stitchfix.com/lockedon. That's stitchfix.com/lockedon. stitchfix.com/lockedon. We're back on the Locked On Thunder podcast, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen every single morning, every single day. We're here for you talking Thunder basketball. Folks, check out the Locked On Sports Today YouTube channel. It's a 24-hour streaming channel on Amazon Fire TV, on the Fire TV channel app, and on YouTube. 24-hour streaming of all the best stories, biggest stories from Locked On, plus the national stories covering every single league. So go find Locked On Sports Today right now on the free Amazon Fire TV channel app or on YouTube as well. So now let's dive into the rest of this game, where Lu Dort deserves so much credit. In this winning streak, he's shooting over 57% from three. He came into this game shooting 57.9% from three in this 4-game winning streak. Now it's at 5 games, and he shot 4 for 6 in this contest. Lu Dort has been awesome shooting the basketball. And I think that is the biggest advantage for OKC. Like that, whenever he's shooting the ball well, it's going to be very, very, very tough to beat OKC. Flat out. Because the odds of him shooting well and everyone else being poor are very slim. So if he's shooting well, plus you have the traditional SGA game, plus you have J-Dub or Chet having a great game and the other one having a solid game, you're just not going to be able to really hang with this Thunder team if that's the case. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, all on the offensive end. And then you know what he's capable of defensively. He got a steal in this game, but more importantly, you look at what he was able to take away. Jalen Green went 5 for 13. Fred VanVleet, he started out hot. He hit some threes. Good for Fred VanVleet. He went 7 for 16. Amen Thompson again came in, had a couple nice buckets. He goes 2 for 10. Like, you look at this, roster. Jabari Smith shot 40% from the floor. Dylan Brooks, 40% from the floor. Like, he's able to switch and fight through screens and draw illegal screens and absorb contact and bring that physicality and energy defensively. He's able to just blow up possessions and in them right away. It was a plus 17 in this game. Lou Dort was a plus 17. Chet was a plus 10. SGA was a plus 17. Like, and Isaiah Joe was a plus 11 and Wiggins was a plus 10. Like, those are the guys that really helped you get where you wanted to go for this game. And I think that whenever Lou Dort is shooting the ball well, and to his credit, Lou Dort has been fantastic this season. Yes, he had a mini little slump. That is going to happen to every single player that's not named SGA. Like, SGA is just remarkably consistent, but every other player is going to go through lulls and go through little droughts. But when you look at Lou Dort, he has improved upon everything that you've wanted him to. He's improved upon his decision-making with the ball in his hands. He's improved upon his rim finishing. It's still not great, but it's improved by his standards largely because of his better decision-making. And he's improved as a three-point shooter. He's shooting over 40% from three. He is shooting over 40% from three this season. Plus, with that uptick offensively, it has not cost him at all defensively. He's still been a high-level defender, and when you surround him with guys like Kaysen and J-Dub and Chet and Shai, you're going to see that he plays even better defense because he's got help around him. And he's funneling the action into guys who can deter shots at the rim. So Lou Dort deserves a lot of credit for what he's been able to accomplish this year and how good he's been in contributing to this Thunder roster, and the fact that as you're still looking at this Thunder team through the lenses of development, Lou Dort has made the significant development that you've been wanting for him to make for a long time. And this is something that we talked about on Locked On Thunder all last year, of like, give Lou Dort another season with better players around him, with a more clear defined like pecking order of aggressive players. Like, SGA is going to take shots. Now J-Dub's going to take shots. Now Chet's going to take shots. So whenever those things are happening and Lou Dort's not forced to be the second most aggressive player on the roster, look how his efficiency goes up. Look how his offensive role goes up. And it's been that for the majority of this season, outside of that scoring, outside of that kind of mini shooting slump that he went on. Isaiah Joe was great as just a threat to space the floor. Plus, he continues to be good defensively. He had 3 steals in this game. Jay Will deserves a lot of credit for being good in this game. 2 for 4 from the floor, 1 for 3 from 3, and just provided you 5 rebounds off the bench and an assist. And he didn't play all that much. He played 11 minutes, but that first 5-minute stretch was really what helped the Thunder get back on track, and really what helped the Thunder just create a spark. Wiggins didn't score a bucket in this game, but yet he had the most impactful 0 points off the bench that I've ever seen, because he's just flying around defensively and getting rebounds and getting stops for Oklahoma City. Wiggins did his job very, very well. Kaysen Wallace hit a big 3 where it led into a timeout and the whole bench started celebrating. He also had a couple rebounds and an assist. Gordon Hayward, again, rebounded the ball very well, 4 rebounds, 2 assists for him, but did not score in this game. And Kenny Hustle in 4 minutes was 1 for 1. So credit to him there. But the big thing was that Josh Giddey was just not good against the Houston Rockets. He was a plus-minus of 0. He had 9 rebounds and 5 assists, 3 steals and a block. I think that he really helped himself out at the beginning of the third quarter, where he played a lot better defensively at that point. He was more engaged defensively. He got the steal of Şengün that led to a skip pass 3 for Chet Holmgren, which led to a timeout a minute into the half for Houston. That was a really good job by Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey was not all terrible. It's just that whenever you shoot 1 for 5 and you go 0 for 0 from 3, whenever you shoot 1 for 5, it's not going to look good. They were able to crowd the paint whenever Josh Giddey was on the floor, which does not help the Thunder. And I just don't think that lineup was a very successful one that they tried out at the beginning of the second quarter, where it was Kenrich and Gordon and Josh, and that was just not a good lineup. That it really didn't maximize anybody. It really didn't help anybody or serve anybody on the floor. So I'm interested to see kind of where they find lineups, especially against Houston on Tuesday, that can really help Josh Giddey, because this is another bad Josh Giddey game against Houston. But again, I think that second quarter lineup was on Josh Giddey. Of course, he didn't play well in that second quarter, but it also was just not a good lineup for anybody that was sharing the floor with him in that sequence. we'll see. We'll see how he can do. At this point, we've talked about Josh Giddey a ton. You can go back and listen to many a podcast about Josh Giddey, but this was just not a good game from him. I think that we'll see what he does on Tuesday, which is just going to be interesting because the game's at like 9 o'clock, and I cannot wait to see how weird that game is in person. Now, tomorrow's show, there's no game to recap tonight. Tomorrow's show will be a mailbag podcast. So drop your mailbag questions down below, and we'll get to all of them and discuss them ahead of that 9 p.m. Houston Rockets game. Until then, be good and be good to one another.